Hi, I'm Del, a medical marijuana activist in North Dakota since 2006. Today's episode, we're going to deal with cannabinoids and terpenes and kind of how they come to be and how they work together. The article I'm going to cite today is by Nick Jikomas, PhD, and was published March 24th of 2017. It's a list of the major cannabinoids in cannabis and their effects. So grab a cup of coffee. This might take a minute. Cannabis produces compounds known as cannabinoids, many of which are not found in any other plant in the world, that adhere to cannabinoid receptors throughout our body. There are dozens, maybe hundreds of cannabinoids not even discovered yet, because they're in such minute amounts. There are 8 major cannabinoids that we have studied with cannabis. Cannabis doesn't directly make the most famous of the cannabinoids, THC and CBD. Instead, it synthesizes several cannabinoid acids together to create the cannabinoids that we know. These cannabinoid acids have to be activated or decarboxylated to activate the compounds that we know as THC and CBD. That's usually done through heat, 240 degrees Fahrenheit. There are 8 major cannabinoid acids produced by cannabis: CBGA, THCA, CBDA, CBCA, CBGVA, THCVA, CBDVA, CBCVA. If you want to try to pronounce any of those, have at it. Cannabinoid precursors are CBGA and CBGVA. These compounds help to create THCA, CBDA, CBCA, THCVA, CBDVA, and CBCVA. THCA and CBDA are usually the most abundant cannabinoids in the strain. The others, shown in Figure 1, are normally present at much lower levels. Cannabinoid acids are not known to produce psychoactive effects or intoxicating effects, but they do have a variety of effects on the THC, and they have a lot of interesting properties. The cannabinoid acids, when exposed to heat temperatures above 240 degrees, but less than 250, change THCA to THC and CBDA into CBD. It basically melts away the acid part and changes it to neutral. But it takes time. So you have to get it to 240 degrees and keep it there for half hour or so, and that should do it. But it's the removal of the acid molecule off the chain here that changes THCA to THC. And you can see the heat is what gets it there. All of these, CBGA, THCA, CBDA, CBCA, all of these during decarboxylation will be changed. Following decarboxylation, each of the cannabinoid acids yields a corresponding cannabinoid compound. So CBGA turns into CBG, THC, CBD, CBC, CBGV, CBCV, CBDV, and CBCV. So all of these compounds change as you add heat to the cannabis. Hence the burning notion. When you burn it, you get high. Now, if you were to take that bud that you just burned and instead eat it, you would not get high, because that bud has never reached 240 degrees for any length of time. When you burned it, you exceeded 240 degrees, immediately changed THCA to THC, and it got you high. But eating it, directly eating the bud, will not get you high. Most cannabinoids will not get you high. THC is the only plant cannabinoid that has clear intoxicating effects on its own. Now, there's some evidence that THCV may also have intoxicating effects, although whether it does depends on the dosage. The higher the dosage, the more chance there is. But THCV is in such small quantities in the plant that it very little chance that you're going to ingest enough of it to have it do anything as far as allowing your receptors to be triggered. While most plant cannabinoids are not intoxicating themselves, their presence can influence how THC affects you. The best example is CBD. Even though it wouldn't get you high by itself, it influences the way that THC interacts with the CB1 receptors in your endocannabinoid system. What that means is CBD blocks receptors so that the THC cannot adhere to them, making the psychoactive effects of THC lessen by the higher content of CBD. When the CB1 receptor adheres to the CBD instead of the THC, there's no room for the THC to adhere. And these receptors, the CB1 receptors, are completely through your body, from your fingertips to your tongue, to your tip of your toes. Your cannabinoid system is a regulatory system. It regulates virtually everything in your body, from your appetite to your blood pressure. And we're studying as many of these cannabinoids as possible. In my opinion, the plant itself has everything necessary. Sometimes you need to burn it or decarboxylate. Sometimes you don't. My oil, my cannabis oil that I took for my cancer is not decarboxylated. It never reaches 240 degrees. Therefore, there's no high at all. It does not change from THCA to THC or CBDA to CBD. THCV also appears to diminish THC's ability to adhere to the CB1 receptors. On the other hand, relatively high doses of it do allow THC to adhere to the same CB1 receptor. The exact dose that you consume can greatly influence how the compound affects you. But because CBD and other lesser-known cannabinoids are generally less abundant in cannabis, they've also been less studied. We do need more research on it. But I'll show you a chart here in a little while to show you how these things interact with each other and do different things. Each compound may do a specific thing, but together they help each other out. Okay, THC can turn to CBN, which is cannabinol, a compound that is not directly synthesized by cannabis. Instead, CBN is a breakdown product of THC. This is why older flower products will tend to have more CBN, especially when not properly stored. With time and exposure to oxygen, THC gradually breaks down into CBN. CBN has been observed to result in greater sedation, and combined with THC may also have anticonvulsant, anti-seizure, anti-inflammatory, and antibiotic properties. However, this is another example of understudied plant cannabinoids. But this plant consistently surprises everybody. This system that runs within your body and the changes that this plant makes throughout its life, at every stage of this plant and every strain of this plant, all the way down to hemp. Seeds from hemp produce the highest quantities of omega-3, 6, and 9 fatty acids, essential fatty acids for your body. They're called essential fatty acids because your body doesn't naturally make them, and it doesn't naturally get them from the food we eat normally. Hemp seed, hemp oil, and hemp seed oil are all high in omega-3, 6, and 9 fatty acids. Your body uses omega-3, 6, and 9 fatty acids to create the cannabinoids that adhere to the CB1 receptors in your body. That plant does not get you high. It also has the highest concentrate of CBD once it's been decarboxylated. So the difference between a hemp plant and a medical cannabis plant with high THC isn't that far off. They are the same species regardless. Here in this chart, you'll see the correlation of all of these ailments. To your left, you have THC, THCA, THCV, and CBN before the CBD. Now, CBD does a whole lot, but it doesn't do it very well by itself. Okay, so here you'll see CBD will help you with pain relief. Okay, but in conjunction with THC, CBN, CBC, and CBG, it works better. Reduces inflammation. By itself, probably not too bad. But in conjunction with THCA, CBDA, CBC, CBG, and CBGA, it does a whole lot better. These are natural compounds to the plant. Now keep in mind, remember, that THC is THCA that's been heated to above 240 degrees. They are not the same thing. So THCA doesn't even show that it's good for pain relief. THC is good for pain relief. CBD is good for pain relief. None of the acids show that they are good for pain relief. I'll let you look at this chart and see very closely how these are so interacted together. These are the things that each of these have been known or have been shown to help. I wish I was as articulate as I think I am. But this basically gives you an introduction to the cannabinoid system. And now what we'll deal with is the last part of it, which are terpenes. Terpenes are the flavonoids and aromas that have been isolated in the cannabis plant. And I'll bring that up here. These are the terpenes that have actually been isolated in cannabis. Myrcene, I don't know. Apinine, caraphyllene, limonene, humulene, and linalool. There's a good one for you. Linalool. Well, each one of these does have an effect. Anti-inflammatory, sedative, muscle relaxant, pain relief, boosts energy, improves focus. Many of these can or cannot be proven. You never know. These are terpenes. Terpenes are found in everything that you eat, everything you smell. There are terpenes in every flower. When you cut a watermelon and you smell it, that smell is terpenes. The flavors that you get from that watermelon are given to you via terpenes. So these terpenes are some that have been isolated in cannabis, and they even give you strains that it belongs to. Musky, herbal, somewhat citrusy, and that would be Chemdog, Grape Stomper, Fire Alien Kush, or Agent Orange, actually a cannabis called Agent Orange, Pine, Fresh Mountain Air, slightly woody aroma, Vanilla Kush, Cookie Cross, 9-pound Hammer. You can pause the video and take a look at these, but these are all the terpenes, the smells, aromas, and flavors that they've isolated in cannabis strains that can also give you some relief from whatever ailment you may be having. But this is probably going to do it for today's video. I hope this helps you, and I hope you got some good information out of it. Have a great day.